Sure, mic there. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Smith, Senator Cornyn. The committee has asked me to discuss Congress's power to regulate the process by which the president's signature is affixed to a document other than a bimanual signature. That is to say, the use of an Autopen or similar technology. I have 4 points to make. The first is that the Constitution and the laws generally, when they require that the president act by signing a document, do not require that the president manually sign the document. The Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel wrote an opinion on that subject in 2005, which is quite extensive, and I find it persuasive. The concept of signature is signing a document is more general than, like a lot of concepts, more general than its central application. The central application is manual signature, but that's not the only way by which someone can sign a document. Someone can also sign a document by indicating that the person signing the document has decided that that person's signature should be affixed to the document by some process other than manual signature. The second point is that as a general matter, Congress has power to carry into execution the constitutional powers of the other branches of government. The last power that is conferred on Congress by Article 1, Section 8, is the end of what's called the necessary and proper clause, and it provides that Congress shall have power, I'll read the whole clause, to make all laws which will be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, that's Congress's other powers there in Article 1, Section 8, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or officer thereof. That's the last part. That's the part that's relevant here. It's sometimes called the horizontal necessary and proper clause because it operates horizontally among the three co-equal branches. Congress is the legislature. There are times when one of the other constitutional powers can use support that can be given only by the force of law. And that is something that Congress can do with a horizontal necessary and proper power. The next thing I'll say is there are some principles, I think, that should govern exercises of the horizontal necessary and proper power. The first is that it operate to support, to assist, to make cause to function better, the power that is being carried into execution, be it that of the president or that of the federal courts. The second is that in supporting the other powers, Congress not seek to exercise powers that are vested elsewhere, like the power to decide cases, like the president's power of pardon. And third, when Congress exercises that power, it should make sure not to put substantial burdens on the exercise of the other powers that it's seeking to support, powers that once again are vested elsewhere than in Congress by the Constitution. I think Congress can regularize the process by which the president's signature is affixed without his manual signature in a way that would be consistent with Congress's horizontal necessary and proper power. In particular, Congress can require that when the president indicates that his signature is to be affixed to a document without manual signature, that that decision by the president be documented and some individual record that the president has made that decision, and that be made part of the public record, say by being published in the Federal Register or the weekly compilation of presidential documents. A statute like that would carry the president's power into execution because making sure that the president really has made a decision and that it wasn't made by someone else with the president's Autopen is a way to make sure that the power is properly exercised, that is, by the president. As long as a statute like that is completely neutral, applies the same way to all presidential decisions, it shouldn't raise any problem of Congress trying to control the president's authority. Again, constitutional powers are vested in the other branches and supported by Congress under the horizontal necessary and proper power. And third, a requirement of documentation. Well, the White House does a lot of documents. The requirement of documentation would not place a substantial additional burden on the president and the processes by which the president acts. And I would suggest that if the committee consider legislation along these lines, that it inquire into the paper flow process currently used in the White House so that any statute Congress enacts will make that process work better rather than burdening it, making it not work as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wald.